Greetings and welcome to another Tomorrow's World webcast. My name is Wallace Smith. It's wonderful to be here. The topic isn't all that wonderful. To me, it's just one more sign that our society is crumbling apart. I don't want to be the only webcaster who ends up giving us celebrity news, but I can't help it when celebrities do something that makes the news and it touches on a cultural touchstone for us. It's worth noticing. The New York Times on March 10th, 2016, had an article titled, "The Secrets to an Open Marriage According to Monique." And if you don't know who that is, she's a popular actress. He'll talk about that here in the article. Let me just read here at the very beginning. It says, "From the outside, at least, the actress Monique and her husband of 11 years, Sidney Hicks, would seem to be in the middle of a rocky marriage. Both have had sexual relationships with other partners for years and continue to do so, and each is well aware of the other's escapades. But, the couple insist, the relationship is actually quite stable, and they are quite happy. In fact, it has been a decade since Monique revealed in an Essence magazine article that she and Mr. Hicks, an actor and producer, were in an open marriage." What is an open marriage? Essentially, an open marriage, it sounds so positive and friendly, is a marriage in which both partners are just free to have sexual relationships with someone other than their husband or wife. So essentially, it is a marriage that gives license to adultery. It comments here in the article, "The open marriage concept has been around for a long time." Well, I would say yes, it has. But some marital experts, though not all, say that couples interested in reaching a golden anniversary or maybe even a first one should be wary of following the example of Monique and Mr. Hicks, who are both 48. It quotes Monique. It says, "People didn't understand," she said, talking about when the article came out. "They thought it was about swinging and okay, I actually don't want to read all the language here in the article. All I'll just say here is that she talks about how she was upset, that there were people who were vehement about God, and they were bringing God into their opinions, as if that's something that shouldn't be done, as if somehow, what place does God have in any of these opinions?" We'll return to that a little bit later. This is a Tomorrow's World webcast. They quote here Dr. Deborah Carr. She's a sociology professor at Rutgers, and she says that she talks about how society's attitude has changed about a lot of things. It's changed about homosexuality. It's changed about premarital sex. Boy, has it ever. But she comments that it really hasn't changed that much about adultery and violating the sanctity of marriage when it comes to a sexual relationship. She says, "As much as attitudes have liberalized over the past 30 years, this is one that really doesn't budge." And then she quotes actually Helen Fisher, who's a biological anthropologist at the Kinsey Institute. I am not a fan of the Kinsey Institute. Very liberal kind of organization when it comes to morality. I don't worry about politics, I worry about morality. But regardless, the quote here is revealing, especially coming from such a source. It says of Ms. Fisher, "People have had open marriages forever because a lot of us would prefer to have more than one relationship, but they never end up working long term." That is, this is not the kind of circumstance that works long term. It just doesn't. And frankly, that should be a no-brainer. If you actually look, God tells us how to have a marriage. He tells us what works. He's the designer. He knows how marriage is supposed to work. You could go directly to Exodus chapter 20 and verse 14 and see the commandment that says, "Do not commit adultery." But you don't have to just go there. There's all sorts of places you could go in the Bible. But one important thing that has to be kept in mind is in Malachi chapter 3 and verse 6, where God says, "I am the Lord, I do not change." Just because society's attitudes about some things may differ, he says, I don't. Really, if you think about it, if you know how something was made and designed to work, just because a few thousand years pass and people want to do something else different with it, and you know it's going to damage them, you know it's going to hurt them, do you sit back and say, well, okay, whatever? God doesn't. God says this is how a marriage works. It doesn't work like that. And I don't care how popular we are, I don't care how famous we are, just because we have some idea about something, God's word never changes. Gravity doesn't stop working just because we don't believe in it. And the laws of good, healthy marriage don't stop working just because we want to try something else. Read it in the news, but do not try it. Thanks for watching. I hope it's been helpful. And please check out our other resources at tomorrowsworld.org.